Good morning down here in beautiful Sedona. I'm just thinking about how who God uses the most. So like if you think about Moses, he had a bit of a temper. As most of you know, he committed murder when he saw an Egyptian arguing with some of his fellow Israelites, killed him with his bare hands and then put him under a bush and ran out of town. Someone else that has a real temper is Peter. Very emotional. Most people that are emotional are somewhat impulsive. And it's been my experience that most people that are emotional have kind of had some trauma, most likely in their years as they were coming up. So, many are called but few are chosen. So most people that are called and end up being chosen are people that have had some trauma. Because my phone overheated. So I was talking about oftentimes the people that are chosen are those that have had some trauma, which I'll refer back to in a second. But also another example is Joseph. Now, I've never heard this said about Joseph, but I come from a psychological background, and, God bless his heart. The way he was so good at Potiphar, refusing the advances of Potiphar's wife. She was trying to seduce him for a while until she had the perfect opportunity when everyone was gone and it was just she and him in the household at the time, and she really tried to seduce him. He didn't want to offend the Lord, and he refused. Which then got him thrown in jail. He spent a long time in jail, but no matter what, he kept winning people over because the good Lord was with him. But, if you look at him socially, he was a little bit impulsive, and he didn't read the social landscape very well because he was already being treated better by their father than his siblings. And, here he's wearing this brightly colored robe, of all different colors that costs a lot of money and was given just to him. His brothers weren't given a robe like that. And then he talks about this dream he has where he's going to be ruling over them. It's like, Joseph, what were you thinking? So he's a little bit impulsive, and he wasn't really reading the social landscape very well. But, the Lord uses all things to work for our good when we love him. So his being in a role of leadership and being in a place of leadership over even his own brothers, that eventually came to pass. But back to the issue of God often using those that have had some trauma. Psychological trauma is a doorway for Satan. Satan's always looking for these doorways into our minds to be able to taunt us and keep us distracted and away from the good Lord. So that's one reason and when Satan gets involved, Jesus wants to get involved because he loves our soul and he wants every soul to be able to spend all eternity with him. Also, the Lord draws close to the brokenhearted. In Psalms 34:10, he rescues those whose spirits are crushed. So those that have had trauma, the Lord draws near to them, and he wants to rescue them because they're down in spirits. They've had their heart stomped on. And of course, the good Lord, as the Bible often tells us, doesn't judge appearances. He doesn't judge us by what worldly status we have or don't have. You know, he judges our heart posture. And lastly, the foolish things of the world hath God chosen, that he may confound the wise. So God likes choosing these unlikely people. And, you know, if you're someone that's had some trauma, like me, you're more likely to be counterculture. You know, I was totally into skateboarding and surfing. I mean, when I started out skateboarding in the 70s, you know, people would cuss you out sometimes, like when you're riding down the city street, you know. That's why in the late 80s, that bumper sticker came out, skateboarding is not a crime. You know, we used to get chased by the security guards when we would skateboard around Century City. They'd actually confiscate our skateboards, and the parents would have to come down in order for us to get our skateboards back. So, you know, trauma, you'll often end up, I started riding motorcycles, you know, and always being told that's too dangerous, that's too risky, you shouldn't do that, you know, but I just had to continue. And then riding Harleys, it's even a bigger no-no, you know, being seen as someone counterculture and going against the norms of society. But, you know, that's why I appreciate many of you that aren't judging me negatively for, you know, loving motorcycles or anything like that. So, you know, it's just interesting how the good Lord works. You know, he works in mysterious ways. So I kind of just wanted to make that, I think that's an interesting topic on who the Lord chooses to show a little bit of extra love so that they start a ministry or start to really fall in love with him, and then start to minister to people and try to win souls for his kingdom. God bless. Leave a hit on like or dislike, leave a comment, even the negative comments. You know, my last video about spiritual warfare is very real. You know, I mentioned, please don't leave comments about me being a Catholic and how that's wrong to worship graven images and so on. And what am I getting? So many messages about how it's wrong to be a Catholic, and that's why you're getting these demonic attacks. I am strong in my faith, people. Please. Don't waste your time leaving those comments. But actually, I like all comments is what I was trying to say, because it helps the algorithm, right? God bless you.